Know not to revere human things too much. I would rather be ignorant than knowledgeable of evils. Read. The one knowing what is profitable, and not the man knowing many things, is wise. Know not to revere human things too much. Justice turns the scale, bringing to some learning through suffering. I willingly speak to those who know, but for those who do not know I forget. What good is it to live a life that brings pain? Self-will in the man who does not reckon wisely is by itself the weakest of all things. Who apart from the gods, is without pain for his whole lifetime's length. We shall perish by guile just as we slew. In the lack of judgment great harm arises, but one vote cast can set right a house. Don't you know this, that words are doctors to a diseased temperament? Read more at H. There is no disgrace in an enemy suffering ill at an enemy's hand, when you hate mutually. By time and age full many things are taught. Read more. Unions in wedlock are perverted by the victory of shameless passion that masters the female among men and beasts. We must pronounce him fortunate who has ended his life in fair prosperity. Read more. The god implants in mortal guilt whenever he wants utterly to confound a house. His resolve is not to seem the bravest, but to be. For hostile word let hostile word be paid. The man who does ill must suffer ill. He who learns must suffer. And even in our sleep pain that cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart, and in our own despair, against our will, comes wisdom to us by the awful grace of God. There is no pain so great as the memory of joy in present grief. Obedience is the mother of success, and is wedded to safety. For know that no one is free, except Zeus. I have learned to hate all traitors, and there is no disease that I spit on more than treachery. God lends a helping hand to the man who tries hard. Memory is the mother of all wisdom. Time brings all things to pass. By polluting clear water with slime you will never find good drinking water. Of all the gods only death does not desire gifts. Read more. The words of truth are simple. Read. For the poison of hatred seated near the heart doubles the burden for the one who suffers the disease. He is burdened with his own sorrow and groans on seeing another's happiness. The wisest of the wise may err. I say you must not win an unjust case by oaths. Read more. I say you must not win an unjust case by oaths. You have been trapped in the inescapable net of ruin by your own want of sense. When fear is good, it must keep its watchful place at the heart's controls. Read. Excessive fear is always powerless. When a man's willing and eager the gods join in. Read. But time growing old teaches all things. Read more. What atonement is there for blood spilt upon the earth? Read more at HT. What atonement is there for blood spilt upon the earth? Read more at. For there is no defense for a man who, in the excess of his wealth, has kicked the great altar of justice out of sight. Married love between man and woman is bigger than oaths guarded by right of nature. Neither a life of anarchy nor one beneath a despot should you praise. To all that lies in the middle a God has given excellence. For this is the mark of a wise and upright man, not to rail against the gods in misfortune. Words are the physicians of a mind diseased. Lives of men. When prosperous they glitter like a fair picture, when misfortune comes a wet sponge at one blow has blurred the painting. Time as he grows old teaches all things. Read. It is in the character of very few men to honor without envy a friend who has prospered. Happiness is a choice that requires effort at times. From a small seed a mighty trunk may grow. Destiny waits alike for the free man as well as for him enslaved by another's might. God always strives together with those who strive. Everyone's quick to blame the alien. It is not the oath that makes us believe the man, but the man the oath. Read more. Bronze in the mirror of the form, wine of the mind. Read. It is best for the wise man not to seem wise. Read. Who is just of his own free will shall not lack for happiness, and he will never come to utter ruin. The anvil of justice is planted firm, and fate who makes the sword does the forging in advance. There is no sickness worse for me than words, that to be kind must lie. Read. Whoever is new to power is always harsh. I know how men in exile feed on dreams. Read. It is a profitable thing, if one is wise, to seem foolish. Read. God's most lordly gift to man is decency of mind. Read more. Too few rejoice at a friend's good fortune. Read. It is always in season for old men to learn. Read. To be free from evil thoughts is God's best gift. In every tyrant's heart there springs in the end this poison, that he cannot trust a friend. My friends, whoever has had experience of evils knows how whenever a flood of ills comes upon mortals, a man fears everything, but whenever a divine force cheers on our voyage, then we believe that the same fate will always blow fair. If you pour oil and vinegar into the same vessel, you would call them not friends but opponents. It is an easy thing for one whose foot is on the outside of calamity to give advice and to rebuke the sufferer. Death is easier than a wretched life, and better never to have borne than to live and fare badly. Be bold and boast, just like the cock beside the hen. What is there more kindly than the feeling between host and guest? Read more at 8. Death is softer by far than tyranny. Read. I, schooled in misery, know many purifying rites, and I know where speech is proper and where silence. When a match has equal partners, then I fear not. Whenever a man makes haste, God too hastens with him. Read more at https:// If a man suffers ill, let it be without shame, for this is the only profit when we are dead. You will never say a good word about deeds that are evil and disgraceful. And though all streams flow from a single course to cleanse the blood from polluted hand, they hasten on their course in vain. Lives of men. When prosperous they glitter like a fair picture, when misfortune comes a wet sponge at one blow has blurred the painting. I would rather be ignorant than knowledgeable of evils. It is an ill thing to be the first to bring news of ill. If a man suffers ill, let it be without shame, for this is the only profit when we are dead. You will never say a good word about deeds that are evil and disgraceful. What exists outside is a man's concern, let no woman give advice, and do no mischief within doors. Only when a man's life comes to its end in prosperity dare we pronounce him happy. To mourn and bewail your ill fortune, when you will gain a tear from those who listen, this is worth the trouble. The man whose authority is recent is always stern. Search well and be wise, nor believe that self-willed pride will ever be better than good counsel. For the impious act begets more after it, like to the parent stock. Read. Mourn for me rather as living than as dead. Since long I've held silence a remedy for harm. It is good even for old men to learn wisdom. Read. For children preserve the fame of a man after his death. For somehow this disease inheres in tyranny, never to trust one's friends. Alas for the affairs of men. When they are fortunate you might compare them to a shadow, and if they are unfortunate, a wet sponge with one dash wipes the picture away. When strength is yocked with justice, where is a mightier pair than they? Read more at 8. For a murderous blow let murderous blow atone. He who goes unenvied shall not be admired. Read.